How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Zeros to Heroes. I'm Josh, and I'm here with my man, Mr. Know-It-All. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not much, not much. So here we have all the MCU movies, and
Mm.
it's been a bit since the first the first MCU with Iron Man in 2008, and we're already at Captain America: Brave New World. So we've both seen Brave New World, so I wanted to
Hmm.
have us sit down and just personally rank our favorite and least favorite MCU movies that have come out. And I'm specifying that we're doing MCU movies, not the TV shows. That can be its own
Okay,
separate thing because that has some highs and lows in itself. But yeah,
that's fair.
so anyways, that being said, first up we got Iron Man, the OG, the original, the first
Bro.
Avenger. So, what do
Hmm.
you think about Iron Man? What did you think when you first saw it?
I really enjoyed the movie. I remember I didn't really know what to expect. Obviously, I'm a comic book fan. At the time that Iron Man came out, he was not the big giant draw that he is today. And so when I was like, oh, it's a safe bet. And then they did it, and it was amazing. RDJ owned the character. I thought it was really good. For me, only because I know that there are other people who were like, oh, it's easily S tier immediately. I think it's a solid A. I think it was a wonderful opening. I think it's one of the best openings that any franchise could have asked for. But I don't know. But I think there are other things that will come better later. I think it's definitely an A though, for sure. For me, anyway.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like absolutely what you were saying. Like he's not as big back then as he is today. I think back then he was maybe C or D tier
Mm-hmm.
character, but
Sure.
nowadays he's very high up there. But yeah, like it had its faults. It had some bits that could have been better, like the plot, the final battle could have been fleshed out a little more, a little longer maybe. But yeah,
Yeah.
I honestly
Yeah.
think if it wasn't for a lot of other things on this list, it would definitely be an S tier, but is definitely the best origin story and start to the MCU. But yeah, I would absolutely put it in an A tier.
Right on.
So next up we have the Incredible Hulk. Now, for me, I think this is probably the best Incredible Hulk, the best Hulk movie we've had, and that also includes the Eric Bana movie being
Mm-hmm.
second
Oh,
to
for
it.
sure. Sure. Yeah, I'll go with that. Absolutely. I think this was an absolutely excellent movie. I thought it was a wonderful representation of the Hulk. I felt Edward Norton leaned really heavy into he wanted to kind of call back to the TV show, not literally, obviously,
Hmm.
but just that kind of grounded nature of the emotional, like stuff going on with him. And stuff that kind of Mark Ruffalo sort of tried to do later in Avengers, the second Avengers movie. Not even talking about quality wise. I just mean they tried to give him some of that pain, so to speak, but it just wasn't really the same. And I think, yeah, this is an excellent movie. I think it established a lot of things. It gave us a really solid look at General Ross at the time, and then obviously we got the character of Emil Blonsky, who later on becomes what's his face?
The Abomination.
The Abomination, who unfortunately we saw come return in She-Hulk. Yay! Anyways, but no, it was a cool character. It was a cool movie. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. Honestly, if there wasn't that slow middle in the movie, I honestly think this would be a solid A tier. But personally, for me, I would say just because it has that almost dead stop in the middle where they're trying to figure stuff
Really
out
does.
with Betty and everything at the university and traveling throughout
Yeah.
that. I think this would be a pretty solid B tier movie.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go with that. That's a fair one.
All right, next up we have Iron Man 2. Now, a lot of people love to harp on this movie, saying it's one of the worst that Marvel has done in their their long career.
That's
But
silly.
I actually think this is not horrible, but not great. It's
Sure.
decent. Like,
I thought it was a solid sequel.
yeah.
You know, it told us the next chapter in Tony's story. I thought well.
Hmm.
We got to see we meet what's his face Coulson more detailed wise in this one.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
and then at the very end, of course, you get that hint at Thor, which I thought was cool. So yeah, not bad.
Yeah,
I liked it.
We
I did.
and we definitely get our roadie in this, the best roadie.
I personally think this is a B, but it doesn't. If you want to give it a C or something, you can. I definitely think it to me is it's right there with the Hulk movie in terms of it's just a solid installment.
No, yeah, I absolutely would give this a B. It's definitely not as good as the first Iron Man, but it's still not bad. Still definitely not bad.
No.
Now Thor, on the other hand, I think is a great entrance to this character. The follow-up movie, Dark World, we'll get to that.
So what's funny is I thought Dark World had some good stuff. Like we'll talk about, you're right, when we get there.
Yeah.
I thought it had some good elements, but yeah, I'm with you. This was a much better movie.
Yeah, Thor. It definitely had that feel of the Shakespearean aspect that you see in a lot of the comics with that are focused on him, and I really enjoyed that. So honestly, I think this is a great origin story, or just introduction to the character. Gives us hints as to what's to come. It gives us amazing characters like Jane Foster and Heimdall and Loki. So yeah, honestly, I would give this an A tier.
Sure, yeah, I'll go with that. This is a good, solid. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. Now I don't know what you say, but I don't know what you think, but personally, for me, Captain America: The First Avenger is probably the best out of all the first wave Avenger movies. Honestly,
Really?
Yeah, I really love this.
By the way, I don't think it sucks. You're just one of the rare people who've said that. I normally hear people want to complain or bag on it. I do feel like, as far as momentum goes, it brought any momentum we had for the MCU, or early days of the MCU, before that was even a thing, to kind of a halt, in that it was like, and we're going to pause, go back, show you something, and then because at the end you're like, oh, and then it kicks you in the pants and now you're back. So it just felt like an odd pause. But yeah, no, I love the quality of this, the storytelling of this. They really painted who Steve was. They established Bucky solid enough that it always felt right when he comes back later. So yeah, I liked this. I think honestly the weakest part of this, and everyone's gonna think I'm crazy, was the Red Skull. I thought he was very one note.
Really?
I just thought he was one note. I didn't feel like there was much nuance to him at all. In fact, the fact that later on he becomes that thing, the Phantom whatever, in the Soulstone world, I thought that was a much more nuanced version of the character because of what he was going through than the first run of him. He was very crazed Nazi, so to speak, scientist person. So I don't know. It just felt one note, but the rest of it was good.
I mean, I can see that, but also that's more or less what I got from his character in the comics, the comics that I've read. But I mean,
sure.
Yes, I can agree that the movie felt more like a halt in advancement. But if you take away from that, it's a really good period piece movie,
yes.
Explaining the origins of Captain America and how he came into the modern era.
That's a great way to call it out too. You're right. It was a great period piece because they were not lazy. You saw city streets and it felt like you were in that era. And then from the news stuff, and then eventually when he's doing that real campy USO tour, and like it just felt very. It didn't feel like, sometimes people call something a period piece, but it's really just like very limited set. This felt like they committed. They were like, no, this is happening in the.
And it also gave us the classic Captain America suit with that USO tour.
Yeah, totally. Even had the wings and the wings on the
wings on the horn. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's great. It was good.
Honestly, I would put this above Iron Man, if anything. Like it's not S tier, but it's definitely the highest ranked movie that we had so far.
Sure, I'll go with that.
Now, what are your thoughts on the Avengers? Now, given the fact that the Avengers was probably the one that I watched the most out of in theaters, and it was my very first midnight screening. Everyone watching this now either knows what a midnight screening is or doesn't know what a midnight screening is, and that's sad.
No, for sure. I loved this movie. I saw this in the theaters. No exaggeration. I think I saw it 10 times. I went with because I saw it myself, and then I saw it again the same day. I came right back. I went back and was like, oh my god, I gotta do it again. Then I went and got my best friend. We saw it a couple times. I got my family. They saw it a few times. I had my girlfriend at the time. We saw it. I was just like, you guys don't understand. Like I was taking people to see this movie. It was so amazing. Because think about it. We'd never seen this level of a crossover. This was the first time. This was when the MCU became a thing.
Oh, absolutely.
When you suddenly were like, wow, all these characters coexisting and having like really quality screen time each. Like nobody was not given a moment. And I thought it was really good.
Like we were all dreaming about this for years, ever since Iron Man came out, and Sam Jackson came and was like,
yes,
you knew you were part of a greater universe than you think. It's like, oh, are we getting more? No, yeah, this felt like a culmination and a celebration of what came before and all the comics that have come in the decades that Marvel first released their first comic.
Oh, so much.
So
yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Like, I absolutely understand that this movie isn't the best in this list, but because of the campiness and just the cartoony aspects. But honestly, if you look at the fact that it's actually trying to emulate the comic feel, this really does hold up. Like, yeah,
I don't know if any other thing could set the stage better.
No,
this
absolutely
set the stage very, very well. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
So honestly, I would probably put this. I personally would put this in S tier just because I loved it so much.
I agree.
Okay, good.
You get no argument from me. Yeah, man, do it. You get no argument. I love that. Again, it set the tone. People can be like, "Oh, you thought this better than that?" No, I didn't say that. I just thought for what it knocked everything else out of the park.
It is definitely one of the most beloved movies in this list, and I think I saw it once a week. Every week it was in theaters. So
yes,
it was great. Okay, so the next one, Iron Man 3. A lot of people hate this movie because of the quote unquote twist of the Mandarin. Me personally, I think this is one of the best Iron Man movies we've ever had.
Good. Okay, good. I was ready to have to. I was prepared to defend it if I had to. I agree. I think this gave us Tony. This was the character piece. We'd already been impressed. We'd already seen all the glitz and glamour. This gave us the substance of this character that would honestly, I feel, set its tone, his character's tone for the remainder of the MCU as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's really amazing, and I thought it was. The Mandarin thing, I actually thought was kind of cool. I was like, what a neat way to say I don't think they were ready to do things that were supernaturally yet. Mm-hmm. So I feel like the way they did it worked.
Especially how they paid it off with Shang-Chi, which we'll talk about later. But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a great character piece of the character, and I honestly thought Shane Black did an amazing job with this. With
absolutely solid
Iron Man. Like the introduction of Iron Patriot was weird, but kind of understood. But yeah, the introduction of AIM, which I wish we got more of AIM in the MCU.
If this movie's guilty of anything, it's that they had a lot of ideas they wanted to put in it. That's the only thing I think is guilty.
Yeah,
seriously, they had, like you said, they had AIM. They had the idea of that.
They had Extremis,
that drug. Yeah, Extremis. That whole concept. Like there was a bunch of concepts, but they still, I thought, even though it looked at times like they were going to drop the plates, like, sometimes that plate spinner will be real low to the ground because he's having to catch it. That was them, but they still kept them all in the air, and that worked.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, even the fight scene at the end with all the Iron Man suits coming out, that was amazing.
So, and there are people who are like, it was just CGI, this suits. I'm like, bro, it was choreography. He had to I'm getting picked up in this suit. Nope, it's getting destroyed. Well, crap, now I got to run. And just there was a lot of things, moving parts that I thought flowed very well.
Like, yeah, and exactly. It's like, how else are you going to do that besides CGI? It's like, that doesn't make sense. Your argument is invalid. Yeah. So honestly,
that's awesome.
Honestly, for me, I would put this above Iron Man, the first one, in A tier. I don't know what you think.
Okay. Yeah, go for it. That sounds good. People are gonna hate us. People are gonna be like, "Are you crazy?" Yeah, whatever, man. It's good.
Imagine if we put
This
this
is
in.
our.
Imagine if we put it in S tier. That'd be they'd
Oh
fry
my god.
us.
Totally. No, that's good though.
Okay.
But the other, I will say this: it did do one thing though. It did set the tone between this and now the one you're about to do, where you have these really big high moments like Thor, like Avengers, and then you have a couple movies that have to recover because people were expecting more.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like this next one, Thor: The Dark World. Everyone was really, I don't want to say everyone. I should say all the hardcore comic fans were expecting a lot of this because of Malekith, the Dark Elf.
Yeah.
So honestly,
I feel like this tried to do what Iron Man 3 did in that it tried to juggle a lot of things. Unfortunately, I think in this instance, it dropped more plates than it was able to keep in the air.
Yeah. Like they also lent a bit too heavy into the Shakespearean-esque part of Thor and just like the mystical and just etherealness.
So
of that.
This one did have some good concepts. I love the concept of the. I love the concept of the not singularity, but the thing that shows all the alignment of all the universes. I thought that was interesting. I felt like the idea or concept that their technology is so advanced, that's why it looks like magic. I thought that even though later on they do kind of lean heavy into maybe it is magic. Yeah. But I thought that was these are good concepts, but then they never really pan out the way you might have expected or want them to.
Yeah, this is honestly, for me personally, this is honestly an F tier movie just because that it delivered on nothing that it set out to do. It was like, yes, it gave us some cool moments with Thor and Loki, but other than that, I don't really remember this movie that fondly. Like I kind of I don't even want to go back and watch it.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Well, see, and I would have thought maybe it was like a C, but we're probably talking more like D or even F, I think, right?
Yeah. Honestly, let's just put it in D just to be a middle. But yeah, I just this is one where I just watched it in theaters and just never wanted to watch it again. Even though I remain almost perfect memory of it, it's just like, I don't want to watch this again.
I think I watch it every time I do a watch through just for the sake of consistent, like being
just
a
for
completionist.
saying you watched it, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I don't just I'll watch randomly almost any of the others.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
This one I'm like okay, I'm doing the watch through. Let's get it done. You know.
Yeah. Now, if you want to talk about the way other spectrum differences between good and bad, holy shit! This next movie, Captain America: Winter Soldier, passed and surpassed those expectations so much. Like this movie had no right being as perfect of a movie as it was.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. This movie is the one that showed that the MCU had range.
Absolutely.
And it also, I feel like, had arguably one of the most Oscar-worthy moments with Steve Rogers and Peggy and her Alzheimer's moment. It was so, like, they handle that with such grace, and it's just so, I'm like, and nobody, because it's a comic movie, was willing to go, hey, you know what? This should get some kind of recognition. Nope. But it absolutely should have gotten something.
What's sad is even to this day, no one in the Oscars wants to acknowledge comic book movies as being Oscar worthy. It's sad.
Yeah, well, I think after the drama they've had with this year's Oscar choices, I don't think they get much place to talk anymore.
No, absolutely not. Oscars are just terrible.
For real. Yeah, no, for real.
God. No, yeah, this movie was absolutely amazing. The spy, the intrigue. The only thing that I wish was different was that I wish the director can't remember what his name is. Robert Redford, his character. I wish they had revealed him to be the Red Skull, like I believe he
really
was in the
pulling
comics.
It in? Yes, so you're right. They don't, they kind of shied away, and I think that was a mistake. Even though I thought he was a little over the top campy in one note in the first one, I feel like that's sort of what made the villain endearing. See, and I think this is where a lot of the movies the individuality begins to start falling apart, because the stuff that makes them unique, they sort of move away from. So Captain America no longer has his main villain for him, which has always been Red Skull.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why don't you, because you're dead right. Bring Redford in, have him pull the mask off Mission Impossible style, and it's actually dude who's the Red Skull.
It was me the entire time.
Totally. I'm there, bro.
I was waiting for that, but yeah. No, yeah, it's great. Honestly, definitely S tier in my opinion, and just
yeah.
honestly, a great watch, a great rewatch anytime you're just bored.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that is going. Honestly, I'd put this above the Avengers, but
I'll go there.
Yeah. So this next one was actually introduced to me through my local comic book shop owner, and
oh really?
No, yeah, seriously. Like, I heard about this. I asked my comic book shop owner, comic book shop guy, what this was about, and he actually thought it would do decently well. Like, he didn't think it would be outstanding, but he thought it could work if given the right scenarios. And 1, 2, 3, and Avengers and all that. Yeah, this Guardians of the Galaxy did amazing, did bonkers.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was so, especially because I went into it blind. I remember the Guardians of the Galaxy comic book, but I remember that comic being really corny. And I don't mean corny like in a nostalgic way. I mean corny like it felt like they were trying to make space superheroes. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And then so I didn't know what to expect from this. And then James Gunn hits it out of the park so hard. And I think it started out with the whole music thing, because that was such a new, the needle drops in the MCU, that was such a new idea. Well, that's not true. Iron Man was doing some of the stuff already, but that was a very specific reason. This was different in that it was like, hey, this music is going to set the tone for who the Guardians of the Galaxy are.
Absolutely.
And I thought that was excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the various different themes and the classic music that plays to the characters. It just works so well.
Yeah, and our first real look at people who had connection to Thanos. It was like, oh, there's a guy who's a big bad. What? You know what I mean? I thought it did a good job.
It also gave us a glimpse into the fact that, oh, this world is so much larger than we know, and there are so many other characters and people out there that are just as cool as the Avengers.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely.
So honestly, I would put this in A tier, and I would put this behind Iron Man 3 in front of Iron Man, the first one.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm down.
So, going with that, we have Avengers Age of Ultron. What are your thoughts on this before I give my thoughts?
Sure. No, I rewatch this all the time for a couple reasons. One, I really dig James Spader. I think he was a unique and interesting choice that deviated from a lot of other things, and I thought he ate it up. And then I do feel like there are moments that don't connect, but to me they're stumbling blocks. They're potholes rather. They're not full blown. This makes the movie bad. I like we start seeing Tony's bigger. They start laying the groundwork for Tony having issues. I didn't care for I guess Joss Whedon said that there was the whole Thor stuff, what he was forced into because they were setting up things. I disagree with that decision. I think the Thor stuff did feel kind of pigeonholed in, but I liked seeing the Stark Tower. I liked seeing the interaction with the Avengers. I liked seeing the beginnings because they didn't have mutants at the time. They had to come up with a reason why Wanda and her brother. And I liked that whole Sokovia scene. I mean, again, there's more good in this than bad. People just, I don't know what people were expecting or wanting. I enjoyed it. I really did. I don't think now mind you, I'm not sitting here going, it's S tier. I'm fully happy with it being a B or C even to be okay. Cause I get it. Yeah. It's not for everyone, This was not a one for everyone, but I know for me, it scratched all the right itches for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this definitely is not one for everyone, especially if you compare it to the first Avengers movie to this. Like, the tone, the visuals, the color grading is a lot different as well. Like,
Yeah, you're
the
right.
first Avengers, I think, was in full screen ratio, and this one was in that widescreen, like the whatever
Right.
ratio, the traditional
Yeah.
traditional black tiles on
Letterbox or letter bars or
There you
whatever.
go. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, this this is honestly a guilty pleasure of mine, mostly because I love James Spader and everything he
Bro,
does.
so good.
His
So good.
monologues, and I. Okay, so this is a personal theory of mine. I think he has signed in every single contract that he has to go on a 1 to 2 minute
Rant?
monologue in anything he
Yeah.
does.
And I'm okay with it. I'm here for it. I
Yeah.
love it.
But no, yeah.
You know, I loved him. I loved him in Boston Legal. I loved him in the Blacklist. I'm a big fan of his. I love his movies. So yeah, I'm down.
Oh yeah, James Spader was definitely the best character to portray Ultron. Do I wish it was a little more closely tied to the comics? Yeah, but we get
Agreed.
and I love it.
Well, this was when I began realizing more and more that the things that we saw that were coming from it were like comic adjacent, meaning they would borrow heavily from, but they were not ever going to be exact.
Yes.
That's when I started noticing. I was like, oh, okay, so he's not going to be Hank Pym didn't invent Ultron. He's not going to be that I'm going to conquer the world type stuff. They kept him at bay, and I think that's actually probably what upset a lot of people.
Yeah, I think especially with this movie, I think people were definitely looking forward to the storyline of Age of Ultron from the comic books.
Yeah,
and that's
the
not
real
what we
Age
got.
of Ultron. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But no,
not
yeah,
at all.
I also agree. There were definitely some potholes and bumps that hindered this movie, especially with the Thor going off on his own little thing, doing that whole thing just didn't really make sense to me.
The lightning pool thing.
Yeah, it's just really weird. Honestly, this would probably be it would probably be a B tier movie for me. Like I like
Sure.
it. It's a great fun movie. It introduces the Maximoff twins, or introduces Scarlet Witch, I should say. But yeah, it's not the best, but it's a decent movie. I would honestly put it in B tier. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. B sounds good.
Now, Ant-Man. Ant-Man is a great movie. I love that it doesn't feel I like that it doesn't feel right away like an MCU movie. It feels like the start to a heist movie, which it is, and it plays through that the entire movie, and I like that.
It does. So people are going to misunderstand what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
I believe Ant-Man, to me, is very much like Captain America: Winter Soldier. Now hold the phone.
Okay.
I don't mean it's that intense of a story or blah blah blah, or well written. It feels like a individualized genre movie. This is another sample that says this is what the MCU can be. You know what I mean? We can show you other styles of movies that aren't just paper or cut out, paint by numbers, rather superhero movies. And just like Winter Soldier set its tone, this set its tone very early and very fast. And I love everything from his friend, who does the little like story beat
Luis,
thing where he talks real. Yeah, Luis, thank you. And all the way to when you actually get to see the full heist pulled off. Michael Douglas is doing next level work as that crotchety old, and he's just like he's happy just having a job and doing it and having fun. And I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah. This is the second movie that we've seen in the MCU where Marvel is showing the outside world, hey, we're not just comic books. We can do genres as well. Like, you want a heist? Here you go. You want thriller? You want spy thriller? There you go. You want a mystery? Here you go. You want horror? That's coming.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love this.
I honestly think the characters were great. The actors were amazing. Rudd did an amazing job, and honestly, I think he made a deal with the devil because he hasn't aged a day.
For real. That's so true. He is not.
But yeah.
No, I like it.
Honestly, just because of the name, I'm gonna put this in A tier.
Sure.
I probably put it above Guardians of the Galaxy. It is that fun.
Okay. But yeah, I loved it. Again, I've rewatched it tons of times.
Now, what's weird is that Captain America: Civil War, it does and it doesn't feel like a Captain America movie at the same time. It feels, I've said since this came out, it feels like Avengers 2.5.
Yes. Yes, it does. I absolutely agree with you. I feel like they threw the Captain America name on it just because, but at the same time, it's not, it's not at all it focuses on so many more aspects than just him.
Mm-hmm.
That I think, yeah, it's absolutely, I loved, but we get our first glimpse. We got our first MCU Spider-Man.
Yes. We got Wakanda.
There was a ton of stuff. Yeah, all these wonderful aspects that we didn't realize were going to happen, and then you get to see Steve's moral compass truly defined, which I thought was interesting. You get to see. I do think it continues Tony's arc. So this movie has the luck of being the connective tissue to so many other elements, and I feel like that made it. Whereas other places will feel okay. To not to get ahead of ourselves,
yeah.
I feel like Captain America: Brave New World feels like it's trying to do the same thing, and that it's trying to deal with a lot of different story elements.
Yeah.
That were either happened or were going to happen, but it didn't do it as well as this. Not as deftly as Civil War. Civil War was like,
I can
hey,
understand that.
we're the connection from this movie and its thoughts to the next thing that's coming, and it did it flawlessly.
Absolutely. The fight scenes, the dialogue, surprisingly, the dialogue was amazing in this. But yeah, the fight scenes, the choreography, the suits looked amazing.
Oh yeah.
Like, honestly,
that was solid.
I'll say it until they actually put him in one, but I still think that the Spider-Man the Spider-Man outfits that they have for him, where it looks CGI, doesn't look as great as it could be if he was actually wearing like a cloth suit or a latex suit or something like that. Like,
I agree.
It feels more. It just feels CGI, honestly. But
yeah,
I think the first suit that we get him in is great. Tom Holland was an amazing actor in this. He was hilarious. He had his quips ready to go. It just showed a lot of characters. It gave a lot of characters a lot of love. And I think the fight scene at the end with Iron Man and Captain America was just great. It's just a great translation from the comics to movie form.
It also continued what had begun in Avengers 2, which was it gave us a wonderful pinup moment. Like that whole double page spread comic book style moment.
Yes.
In the airplane or airport fight scene where they're literally on both sides and you're like, dude, this is literally a page. This could be a double page spread in a comic book. Exactly.
Yes, absolutely. So it's like having to choose from my favorite children or favorite figures. I would honestly put this in A tier. I'd probably put it behind Iron Man and above Thor.
Sure. Okay, yeah, I'll go with that.
Now, Doctor Strange was weird, and that's good, because Doctor Strange in the comics is really weird. Benedict Cumberbatch did an amazing job with the character, and honestly, I can't really say anything negative other than the fact that I wish Dormammu was an actual like fire demon that he's kind of depicted in the comics.
Yeah, I felt so. I liked this because this continues the tone that like Ant-Man and Winter Soldier did, which was it said we're going to be another unique thing. And it felt, while it wasn't like horror, but it definitely took us to a new place that we really hadn't been. And it was also the first time that we actually hear the idea of the multiverse even remotely discussed.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and Tilda Swinton in this was great for the scenes that she was in. Like, everyone was harping when they first announced her as the Ancient One. Like, oh no, it's not an ancient, it's not an old Asian man. It's like, okay. So, it's Tilda Swinton. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely agreed. And she brought her A game completely, and the fact that she was there to play even further beyond this, I thought was really cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, like she was later on. We see her again, and you're just like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. Like they really invested in actors who not only were quality, but actors who were of good character, and were like, yeah, man, we're here to do this and take this character seriously for the run.
For sure, absolutely. Yeah. So I would personally put this in A tier above Ant-Man and behind Iron Man 3. What do you think?
There you go. Yeah, that's solid. I like that.
Now,
it's funny. I'm starting to see a pattern emerge here, which is for the longest time they really were hitting solid home runs. Man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just wait until we get to like phase 4 and 5. Oh my god. Speaking of good trends, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 hit that note really good, and pun intended.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I thought it was good. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
James Gunn came in with a bat and swung a home run with this, with all his music and just the emotion, and you start to see that the Guardians movies they have an arc, but they also have personal character arcs as well. Like this one, half of the movie focused a lot on Rocket Raccoon, and we'll see that played out and finished in Guardians 3. But yeah, this one really showed a depth to the characters, and especially Rocket, that we hadn't seen before in Guardians.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely agreed. I loved this. I love what it was doing. I thought it knew the assignment very well.
Yeah, it absolutely did. Now, a lot of people say this does something wrong, and the something is that they make Ego the Living Planet Star-Lord's dad, opposed to in the comics where he is the heir to I think the Spartax Empire.
Mm-hmm.
So I want your opinions on that. What do you think about that?
So I that was the first thing that glared out to me, but then I kind of moved past it, because they also didn't even make Ego an actual like they did, but they didn't. Like, he wasn't a big giant planet with a face, and that's fine. Yeah. So once I kind of made that turn, I felt like it gave Star-Lord purpose. It gave what's his face's character purpose as well. The actor who plays Ego, whose name literally just escaped my brain. I see him as Santa Claus right now.
Oh no, we're gonna lose all our credit if we don't know.
Oh my god, tell my secret. No, for seriously, and I probably should have come better prepared. I apologize.
Kurt Russell, we're gonna lose all our credit. Kurt Russell,
totally. No, he did I thought he was amazing. I thought Kurt Russell was absolutely amazing as Ego, and I think he's so amazing that I very quickly forgot any problems I had or any hiccups that I felt.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also, surprisingly enough, it also introduced us to the Watchers, even if they were just a blink and you miss it.
Totally.
and
we got Manta.
Yeah, it also validated the fact that Stan Lee is a Watcher, or at least a traveler who knows the Watchers.
Yeah, totally. I love that.
Is great.
And I still take those cameos as canon, man.
Absolutely. Honestly, I would put this behind Captain America, the First Avenger, and above Iron Man 3 in A-list.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Now, Spider-Man...
Our A-list is going to be really wide soon.
Oh, yeah, our A-list is definitely going to be wide. Spider-Man Homecoming was probably... Now, the Spider-Man movies have been hit and miss, but for good and good and bad reasons. Like, you have your Spider-Man 3s that are okay, but not great. You also have your Amazing Spider-Man 2s, which are decent, but are heavily bogged down by studios. And then you have Spider-Man Homecoming, which is bogged down by studios, but in a good way as well. Like, it has cameos, it has team-ups, and just like, it does everything right in a Spider-Man movie that you want to see, because you get good characters, you get Spider-Man as a teenager in high school, you get that Spider-Man Peter Parker drama in his real life with him trying to balance school, a girlfriend, and Spider-Man, and it also gives us that Avengers connection as well, and good villains too. Like, honestly, probably the best Spider-Man villain, or just the best villain that we've had in the MCU so far.
I thought it was really good in that it also showed us very effectively in ways that later installments, funny enough, get real ham-fisted with, that we can reference really clearly and in-world and show the repercussions of things. Like the fact that Toombs's big company was a construction company that had a contract to collect to clean up New York or help, and then all of a sudden here comes Tony Stark's demolition crew type company that comes in and is like, oh no, we're going to take all that stuff and this and that, and then they lose it. Like, those are very real world issues that resulted from other events.
Yeah.
To me, that you don't get much more of a really well put together interconnected universe than those kinds of ripples because of other things that happened. And I think this does this better than I think Civil War did in the very beginning. How Civil War, we had to deal with that one, the issue that with the explosion and that eventually leads to the Sokovia Accords. I feel like this did that kind of idea better.
Yeah.
Which was, oh yeah, these superheroes and these things are actually happening, and now people elsewhere are feeling the result.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, even with this, Toombs, like, he's a villain, but he doesn't want to be a villain. He's just trying to provide for his family, and this is the life that he was pushed into. Like, he doesn't want to hurt Peter. He doesn't want to kill him, but he'll have to if he gets in his way of providing for his family. Like, he gave him a choice. Like, follow me and die, or get hurt. Don't, and you get to see my daughter.
I did like this movie in that it also gave us a moment that comic book fans of Spider-Man always see or have seen, which was he's pinned down underneath a bunch of stuff and has to find that strength and push it all up. And we've seen that in comics many times. And I love the fact that it was in. I remember when that moment happened, I was like, "Oh my God, they're doing it! They're doing it!
They're doing the thing! They're doing the thing!" Yeah.
He has to like really dig deep and find out just how strong he really is. I thought that was great.
That's great. Yeah. Now, and they don't give us the with great power comes great responsibility until much later, but I honestly think that's fine. And the way they delivered that line in No Way Home is really good. But yeah, honestly, I would put this right behind Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 in A tier. Definitely a solid movie. Now,
absolutely.
Thor Ragnarok really changed the game for how we see Thor, Hulk, and just so many characters, and just how they shoot movies as well. It's like
it introduced us to Bro Hulk, or Bro Thor rather. and I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, we're okay with that until we get to his next movie, and then
for sure, no, for sure. This was, I think it was good. I think it had a lot of good elements. I thought it was weird that this is where they chose to put like Planet Hulky references.
Yeah.
When I'm like, why does it feel like the Planet Hulk movie happened on the periphery? And you're like, I guess. So I don't know.
Yeah, you just gotta blame Universal for all that. Fuck Universal and them not wanting to play ball with Marvel and Disney.
For sure.
Just let us have another Hulk movie. Come on, let us do Hulk justice. No, honestly, yeah. This movie was fantastic. Like, it was hilarious comedy, and just Taika Waititi definitely brought his A game with this.
I think so too.
Opposed to Thor Love and Thunder. Jesus Christ. We'll get to that. To that. I think this was an amazing movie, especially with Hela and Cate Blanchett.
Yes.
Cate Blanchett. Mwah.
So this felt like they were mashing up two movies, but in a way that works, oddly enough.
Yeah, surprisingly, it does work a lot. They mashed Planet Hulk with Thor Ragnarok, and
well, it just kind of feels like we got like the whole idea of, because you're right. I know what you're talking about. I'm more referencing like we get this entire Hela story that goes and pause. We're gonna go have this side quest that will be just as meaningful, just as good, and just as involved, and won't feel like a side quest until you come back.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah, it does.
So yeah.
So yeah, honestly, this is a really solid movie. Definitely one I like to come back to every once in a while. And honestly, I would put this in A tier, behind Ant-Man and in front of Guardians.
Yeah, I'll go there.
Personally.
That sounds good.
All right, so now we have our token black movie of the MCU.
Wow. That's awesome.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 movies to get to Black Panther. How is this not the token black movie?
No, that's fair. That's fair. I really, so I did not expect to enjoy this movie as much as I did.
Yeah.
So when I was younger, many, I'm also an artist and illustrator and stuff, and I wanted to be a comic book artist as a kid. Went to Marvel at 17, had them tell me because I saw the Rob Liefeld commercials, and took my portfolio, and they said, "Hey kid, you're not bad, but you need to go get some more experience." And I said, "Okay,
that's fair."
But so when this movie came out, I went into it cynically, kind of like the way you kind of just described. Like I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, whatever," and then it just blew me away. And I'm a Puerto Rican black man in America. I'm a much darker persuasion, so clearly, and I'm watching this, and I start really getting moved, not just by the movie, but by what it is. It did not. Okay, I'm going to say some real controversial stuff here for a second. I'm probably going to get blasted for it. It didn't Tyler Perry itself. Instead, it said, oh, hey, by the way, here's this character who does feel very much those things and righteously and the right way in Killmonger. But then here's this entire culture that has never touched those type of issues. And here's what could be. Here's how we could excel. Here's how beautiful and wonderful. And you're like, oh my God. And it made me see myself differently. Like I had comic book characters I created for myself when I was younger that even though I'm not drawing comics, I had to go back and ask, did I create this character as a white character because that's how all comics were? Or because I felt like that's what, and I remember some characters I've changed as a result. I was like, no, you know what? This is going to be a characters like this because, and it was such a utopian view of a black African society that I was like, that is amazing. It was such a wonderful movie, and it did things that I didn't expect it to do. It made me feel things I didn't expect to feel at all. So yeah, I was right there with everybody else. Wakanda forever in. So you know what I mean. So I'm like, right on, bro. I like this. I like this. To me, it's solid S tier, but that's just me. You don't have to do that. No, I'm just saying I love this movie.
I absolutely agree with you. It is definitely S tier, and it is going in S tier. But yeah, like this movie brought in a lot of emotions. Like even Killmonger, the quote unquote villain of this movie, he's more of an antagonist, but he had a lot of correct ideas, except the way that he wanted to do them wasn't the right way. Like, yes, bring Wakanda into the fold, into the rest of the world, but just doing that by exposing the world to vibranium weapons isn't necessarily the right or probably the first way to do that.
Sure, I agree.
And honestly, I've heard a lot of people equate this to an MCU version of Hamlet, and I can absolutely see that.
Oh yeah, I'll go with that.
So yeah,
I also love the world building they did. I don't know, and I know there's tons of that in the comics, but golly, man, they painted such a amazing picture of things, and to see the technology they had and the fact that they were so far ahead of, say, Iron Man was really eye-opening. And it was like, wow, okay. And being introduced to, and then they connect vibranium to the to other stuff in the past that had happened, and we get it's just, again, it was really, I thought it was good, especially because we get that what's his face, that one guy from we get him back from Age of Ultron.
We get Claw.
Yeah, it was so good to see him and that whole idea, and we get introduced to that to the one CIA agent who I thought he was fun.
Agent Ross. Yeah. This movie is definitely S tier. It gave us a lot of stuff. It gave us some amazing actors in this. Like Angela Bassett is amazing in this as well.
I will say this now because gives us an opportunity. I think they absolutely should have recast T'Challa.
100%. 100% they should have recast T'Challa. Yes, they're trying to respect the actor, Chadwick Boseman. They 100% needed to recast Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no two ways. Yeah. There's no two ways about it. But they just missed their opportunity to continue that character, and that's a flaw. I agree. That's absolutely a flaw. I agree. Now, this one here, Avengers: Infinity War. Personally, this is gonna be an S tier automatically for me.
Absolutely done. Yeah, no, done.
Absolutely S tier. Possibly the best of the best Marvel movies up there, and yeah, it just gave us a culmination of everything that's been worked for the last few years. In Thanos gave us the best antagonist in the MCU as of this point. Gave us nearly flawless CGI and just a compelling character with Thanos. Like, you can understand his motivations in this, and like, this isn't an Avengers movie, it's a Thanos movie.
Agreed. No, 100%. He's the hero of this movie all day.
Every day.
When you get to the very end, people are like, "Oh, well, no, what happened? I can't believe my dad."
Dude, in theaters, when we get that ending, I was clapping because I knew he won. I was cheering for him.
Mr. Know-It-All Senior was so mad. He was like, "Oh man, but I like a good ending. I don't understand. I can't believe he did. Why? How come he won?" And I had to explain it to him.
Like, this is the only way this could have ended. Like everyone on the other side of me was looking at me crazy. Like, what are you doing? He's a villain. What are you doing cheering? Like,
right?
He won.
Yeah,
he's the good guy.
Yeah, he won his movie.
Yeah, he's the good guy in this.
That's right. Okay, he's the one, and I just thought everything they showed, everything they did, it was done so well. The return of Steve and everybody was so poignant and wonderful, and you get to kind of get the idea of what they've been doing for a minute. And I thought it was great that they really pushed forward and said, okay, fine, this is this piece of the puzzle. I see you did them in when they were released order, which is totally cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think, yeah, I loved, dude, with when Scarlet Witch is trying to protect Vision, and then Chicky from Thanos' crew throws her spear, and you see, and Captain America catches it, and you're like, oh,
my God.
So. And it just starts at dun 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 dun. You're like, yes!
No, yeah, dude. Every time I watch it, it just gives me goosebumps every single time, and then it just makes me cry whenever Spider-Man dies. It's like, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good,
dude.
No,
dude,
baby boy.
And everyone. And what I find amazing is that if you go back and do the research, because there's tons of BTS stuff now, and there's people who've even talked all about it. The filming of this was so all over the road. They were filming scenes here, filming scenes there. Oh, we're in the studio doing this other thing. Cool, come over here.
Jumping through hoops to make this secret.
And they did an amazing. They filmed multiple death scenes of different characters who don't die just to keep everyone on their toes.
They filmed,
and I'm like, oh,
they flat out lied in their trailers. They had Hulk running.
Yes. Yeah, and it's regular, like full on Hulk. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Oh. I love them. They will never be able to pull off something like this ever again. In just the amount of secretiveness that they're pulling. Like, I don't think that'll ever be able to happen again.
This was a very special, not just moment in the MCU. I think it was a special moment in time.
Yes.
It was special for comic book fans. It was special for genre fans. It was special for moviegoers. It was like, hey, by the way, this was the series finale, or these two movies together, are the series finale of something that you've been watching. And you're like, wow, it was amazing, and it's beautiful. It really is beautiful.
No,
I'm corny saying that.
No, yeah, I honestly agree with you. Like, Infinity War and Endgame are moments in time that will never be forgotten. They're core memories for us as adults, or even kids. Like,
hands down.
Like, we'll get to that with Endgame. But honestly, these two are just the end of an era. They're just the culmination of hard work of 10 years. But anyways, moving on, we got Ant-Man and Wasp, and this one,
This one I feel like suffered from a lack of focus.
Yeah.
I feel like it wanted to be too many things too quickly. And I'm like, guys, really? I did like the introduction of the giant aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was very cool. The fact he can get real big. We've seen pieces of that obviously we saw it in Civil War, but having them come back to, oh, by the way, and introducing Goliath, the guy who was, I was like, that's great.
That was great.
Good,
That's right.
good job.
But yeah, the weakest bit I think is probably the quote unquote villain Ghost in this, because in the comics, in animation, the character is, first of all, the character is male in almost every other iteration. That doesn't detract to this character. It doesn't matter if the character is male or female. It's just the character itself is a bit flawed in this. Like, but I agree. In the comics or animation, the character is mainly a saboteur and tech thief.
Right.
So in this, the motivations are just it's just a bit weak for me.
Walton Goggins being his Walton Goggins-ness of it all, I'm like, I kept wondering, what are you here for, my man? Like, why do you exist in this other than just to give us some stuff to happen?
I'll just watch Walton Goggins in anything he does. Like, it's
fucking
Cecil in Invincible. It's like, oh my god, that's great.
I love watching the BTS of him recording his lines. He's so good. Sorry, anyway, it's not what we're talking about, but yeah, it's good.
My favorite bit will always be my favorite bit in Ant-Man is just Luis just rambling on about everything. It's like, you want to know where Scotty is? Oh, okay, so he was a bad place in jail. It's like, no, that's not what we're here for. Where is he now? Oh, okay, he's in the woods.
So I would, if I were you, and you don't have to listen to me, you can do anything you want, I think this is our first C movie.
100% agree. It's not great, but it's not bad either. Mm-hmm. It's just middle of the road, honestly.
And then the end credit scene where you see them all dust, and you're like, oh god, that's right. Like, you immediately, I go, oh, like, so you this completely
forget. Then you're just reminded, oh shit, this is happening now.
You immediately know where it's at. Yeah. This gave way to all the YouTube videos where people are putting them side by side when the snap happens to when everyone starts, because all you got to use is that moment, and you can put them right next to each other and go, okay, now I know when this movie happens literally in time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Now, Captain Marvel, personally for me, I think this is another C-list, another C tier. But
I agree.
It sucks because they did a lot better with the character in the Marvels, and I wish they had done better with her in this.
We can talk about that when we get to it. We can about the Marvels, because I have thoughts about the Marvels. For this, I feel like this did the same thing that the original Captain America First Avenger did. It felt like a hard stop to our momentum after we just left Infinity War. Mm-hmm. Ant-Man had given us a thing, and we don't, again, just like with Captain America Winter Soldier or First Avenger, we don't rejoin the current moving forward until the end.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god. But it introduced us to it was the 90s, it was this and that.
Yeah.
I thought this wasn't a bad movie, it just felt like a movie.
Yeah.
I think the only reason this thing did $1 billion is because we came off the heels of Infinity War, mm-hmm. and we were looking for something big. You know, we wanted it to be big.
Like okay, this is going in C tier below Ant-Man. But no, okay, so yeah, like with Captain America: The First Avengers, this is a stop in the momentum. But for me personally, I think it was more of a hard stop. Like, whereas Captain America was like, okay, let's take a step back and show you something else. This was a hard bam. This is it. This is what we're doing. And
the problem is, at this point, they weren't giving us many more of those. Oh, we can be a different flavor. This is when it began to feel tonally like Marvel was only one thing now.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the unfortunate bit is, like, this is set in the 90s. They were trying to make it.
But it felt conspicuously 90s.
It felt way too 90s. Whereas Captain America: First Avengers felt like a period piece. This felt like it was. Yes. Oh, hey, this is 90s. This is all 90s stuff. You see the fucking blockbuster.
But it was 90s. But it was 90s stuff that was like. it was what I feel like when this was VH1 90s stuff, and by that I mean, you know how everyone always talks about the cliches and the things and all this stuff. It felt very 90s stuff that it didn't need to be.
Yeah, playing on all the cliches and all that. Yeah, absolutely. This wasn't great. It wasn't bad. I don't think that she did a really good job with this. I heard a rumor that she had to have a butt double.
Shut up.
I heard, I still might cut this out, but I heard a rumor that her ass was so flat they had to get ass double to make it look,
oh my god,
bigger.
That's crazy. That is so crazy.
Again, complete rumor, but yeah.
No, right on. No, again, I didn't like because Nick Fury was like, see, this is my eye because I trusted somebody, and then they turned out to be the Flerken, the cat character creature.
That's so fucking stupid. Yeah.
I was like, what a dumb, really?
Yeah,
I thought somebody betrayed you or something.
It could have been so whatever. Cooler. No. Cat.
I wasn't a fan of them introducing the Skrulls like this either, because to me the Skrulls have never been a good guy.
No, absolutely not.
And they're not all evil, but they've never been, because the Skrulls are notoriously a Fantastic Four villain.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever.
I'm of course, I'm perfectly fine with some with Skrulls being decent people, they're decent people. Then we have this faction that's the extremists, and Kree are always going to be the Kree, the just domineering empire, the kind of the space Nazis or whatever. But yeah, it's
yes,
yeah, but
that's a great way to put it, because you're absolutely right.
Yeah, but I don't think that introducing them in this movie was the right move. Now, that being said, in future installments and whatever, I like the Skrulls. Skrulls are cool people. They're dope. I just don't think they were the right villain for this. I think the Kree could have been a much more compelling villain in this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree 100%. It's funny, I should have expected. So series-wise, and I know we're not talking about the series, I hated Secret Invasion. I hated it on the visceral level. I thought it was a complete betrayal of a lot of things. Now, we're not talking about that. But I feel like this connects, clicks right up to that perfectly.
Yeah.
I feel like, oh yeah, this was not that great, and things weren't fleshed out, and this clearly leads me to that.
Yeah, 100%.
In a bad way.
100%.
So it's
hey, it all leaks over.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, moving on to the next movie, Avengers Endgame. Now, this we've said before is going to be the culmination of 10 years of movies up to this point, and it feels that way. It doesn't feel bloated necessarily.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff happening, but it doesn't feel overly bloated in a bad way. There has to be a lot of stuff happening in this movie.
My wife and I love this movie.
Oh yeah. So
we just love it mainly because how it opens. It opens so brilliantly.
100%. This,
I just love it.
This gives us a lot of character moments. It gives us a lot of it defines characters in their finality as well. It's it gives characters a really good send off. Some of them as well.
Stephen Lang meeting his daughter again for the first time blew me away,
dude.
I was like, Paul. It was simple. It's a blip in a moment. It's a blink and you miss it moment. But I'm like, Paul Rudd, I did not know you could really dig that deep. When he's hugging her and it's a mixture of confusion, relief, and I saw all those things play across his face. That's just one example. And then you to the Captain America when he's in with the group that he's sort of counseling, just unreal. And then to seeing Black Widow holding down the fort as best she can, it just everybody. And then they just throw unceremoniously Professor Hulk into the mix, and I was like,
Jesus.
okay.
Yeah.
Again, more stuff happening off screen with him. The Hulk has been really getting short shrift this whole. Now that you think, look,
he's really getting shafted in these movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn it, Universal, fucking Universal. I'm gonna.
I do think.
I'm gonna hate them.
I do believe, honestly. So I believe, if you want to put it S tier, you can. But I believe this is A tier, very front. I think it's front and center. I think it is the best of the of what these. It's the perfect second movie, second half.
I'll agree with that.
It did a really good. It did a really good like handshake, and then especially when they reintroduce Thanos. And you get the kind of encounter with him I think we all really wanted the first time.
Ooh, yeah.
Because now we're seeing the story from the other side.
Yeah, because
and so he's talking mad crap. Oh, when he's sitting there and he says the line, he's like, "Everything brought you back here to me." I was like, "Oh, like you couldn't live with your failure."
Like in the first movie, Endgame, or in Infinity War, we were all expecting Thanos to go all out. It was like fight to the bitter end. It's like, no, he's tired. Mm-hmm. He just wants shit done. Wants all this to end. And this, we get to see him in his prime, in his A game. He just goes
when he was his most when he had the fullness of that conviction.
Oh yeah,
when he was it was, and he was mean and scary. I was like, bro.
Absolutely. Like, in Infinity War, he was the hero. In Endgame, he was definitely the villain.
When he literally when he's torturing Nebula, and you're just like, what is happening here? Like, that is unbelievable. And then and I just loved again, you get to see a lot of, I get more big ideas. I feel like Tony Stark inventing time travels on a whim was a little awkward, a little ham-fisted, but it didn't detract too much. I was with him.
Yeah.
I loved. I felt like getting everyone together. They still did a good job. Fat Thor. What did you think of Fat Thor?
Well, he more closely resembles his actual design.
Right
in mythology. So I mean, yeah, I can get with it, especially with God of War Ragnarok Thor. Holy shit, daddy.
But then you see him when he summons when he just, like, calls down his power and changes, and I'm like, oh, you really are going to be big guy for the whole fight. Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know why. I thought maybe his power would change him back to, and like, nope, he's fighting as this. Okay.
Yes sir. He's gonna be full big body, big boy, Viking boy.
I used to have a problem with the Lady Avengers moment, and then someone recently someone said to me, well, this is absolutely fan service, and I went, you know what, I'm okay with fan service in other places, fine. So I've changed, and not that I reversed my stance. I'm just kind of like, okay, it's move on. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Because you're right. We accept fan service in other places. There's no reason why that piece of fan service can't also be valid. And I'm like, you know what? Good.
Absolutely. Like, fan service is for specific people. This doesn't have to. It doesn't have to emote to me, but it can emote to some other people's. Like, I didn't care for the female Avengers scene, but a lot of other people did. That's totally fine.
Right.
It's totally fine.
And the fact that someone acknowledges and goes, no, it's strictly fan service. It served no real purpose. It wasn't like it wasn't earned. It was just, hey guys, here's all the female characters in one shot together. Yay. And I'm like, you know what? Fine. Valid. What am I going to
Girl power.
Yeah, go for it. I'm like, whatever. Because I'm with you, and that I didn't care for it, but I've since, not that I've backtracked, but I've since come to go, you know what?
It's whatever.
Fine.
It's whatever.
They get their fan moment too. I loved Hulk being the one to do the thing, and that it was like, wow. I really wish there's a scene that they cut out where he goes like someplace in his head to the Soul Stone and has a conversation with someone, whatever. And I wish that we would have got, even if it's like on whatever the DVD, or I bought the whole thing from Apple, so it has all like extra scenes in BTS, and I'm like, guys, give me a version where you can see some of those things put back in or something, because that, I felt like you get some, again, a lot, and it already had a lot. The movie was bloated to begin with.
Oh yeah, like 3 hours or something like that. Yeah,
it was totally crazy.
Like, honestly, this movie alone, we needed behind the scenes, or we just needed extra scenes or extended scenes, or just like little snippet, not like shows, but little snippet shorts to
Sure.
show us the mindset, or just show us different things that happened off screen. Because I
Well,
honestly believe
yeah,
that
yeah.
I honestly believe Professor Hulk would have been much more widely accepted if they had shown the process to that in some form or fashion.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
Like,
I'm like, instead of giving me, instead of giving me a half-cooked She-Hulk, why don't you give me him and his struggle, going through all this stuff, having to deal with that? Like, if we're gonna go back, give me that stuff. Why do we get?
yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
Like
I'm sorry.
they could have tacked on the how he turned into Professor Hulk into that first scene of She-Hulk, and just have all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And
I
the
like
implication, I think, is that is where he did it, is in that island sort of lab.
the
I think
Ramada,
that's
yeah.
supposed to be, but it's never like explicitly stated or gratifying in the least.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, absolutely. No, yeah,
Sorry.
no, yeah. I like She-Hulk, but it had some issues, but I like She-Hulk more or less. But yeah,
Well, not to mention that Professor Hulk would have been. There's a whole run of Professor Hulk in the comics where he, not literally Professor Hulk, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When he's working with the Hulkbusters, when he's working with Doc Samson, and I'm like, you could have literally begun to cultivate more Hulk backstory, or like flesh his world out more. Again, like I said, for at this point in the MCU, they've stopped trying to give us individual genre-esque stuff to show the flavor, and it just feels like it's the same thing. We're watching episodes of a series at this point.
yeah, absolutely. Like, another thing, we're going on way too long with Hulk, but it's well deserved. It's well deserved our hatred of what they're doing with the Hulk. Like they stopped trying to give Hulk his individuality after Ragnarok. Like they tried to give him an individuality. Like they tried to give us that Hulk and Banner are two separate entities, but they never really pushed into that ever. So it's sad to see, because that kind of stuff can be really, really cool, and we've seen that in like the Avengers Assemble, and just Avengers, the Earth's Mightiest Hero shows, and all that. It's like those characteristics of the Hulk are so much better. Like, you've seen the Earth's Mightiest Heroes TV show, correct?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
That honestly is the best Hulk depiction that we've ever gotten, animated or live action or comic book.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Anyways, honestly, we could talk forever about Hulk, and they're fucking with him. But no, yeah, let's move on to the next one. The last movie in, I believe it was Phase 3. Yeah, the last movie of Phase 3, Spider-Man: Far From Home. Honestly, it was an okay movie. Not great, but it's just okay.
No, it's not great. It has some great moments in it but other than that, I'm with you. Like, I think the moment that I think the moment we figure out J. Jonah Jameson is in that universe, I'm down. Mm-hmm. I was like, I love that moment. I love that beat, because I thought, I don't care what people say, I think he's the definitive J. Jonah Jameson in my opinion.
Oh, 100%.
And then I think the introduction of the
Mysterio,
Edith. That whole computer thing with I thought it was weird. I liked Mysterio. I liked the concept behind him. I thought some of the like how they incorporated all these know nothing characters that we've been seeing the whole time. I was like, okay, I get you. That I thought was clever. But I also think it's like, again, there's certain missteps throughout the whole thing. So
yeah, it also sucks that this movie invalidates Spider-Man and Shield's relationship just by having Fury and Maria Hill be Skrulls.
Agreed.
Absolutely agreed. Because we could have had an amazing relationship between Sam Jackson and Tom Holland, but just nope. They're Skrulls, and he's off on what was it? Sword. He's off on Sword. I was like, oh, okay, well,
it's just certain. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm just like, come on, guys, really?
No, don't get me wrong. This is an okay movie. It's like, it's fun to watch every once in a while, but I'm not gonna
But
sit down
so
for
this
it.
continues that trend. This continues the trend of after a big high, suddenly you get something that kind of it's supposed to be just as good, and I think they really expected it was going to be just as good, but it sort of fell a little short for me. It was I don't hate it, but it's this out of all the Spider-Man movies is the hardest rewatch because I feel every minute of this runtime.
Yeah, and it's probably the big stickler and stinker to the end of such an amazing run of 1, 2, and 3 phases, because it
Yeah.
is the final movie in the phase, whereas they could have just had Endgame be the final movie in that phase and have this be the start of the new phase. It just
So where are you putting it?
so honestly, for me, I would put it behind Ant-Man and the Wasp in C tier.
Okay, cool. Okay,
Like it's
that's
not
good.
D tier, it's not F tier, but it's definitely not B or A.
Agreed.
Like
No, I
it's
absolutely
just
agree with
honestly middle of the road. It's okay, but it's just
you. Mm-hmm.
very middle of the road. Now,
So the next one, right? Go ahead. Set it up.
okay, so next one is Black Widow, and I've got some thoughts. So let me do a little rant, a short rant. So Black Widow is an amazing character in phase one,
Mm-hmm.
2, and 3. Absolutely amazing character. Scarlett Johansson knocks it out of the park every single time. Why the hell are we have? Why the hell has it taken 10 years to give her her own movie? It's like this
Agreed.
does not make any sense at all, other than introducing her sister and fucking Madam was that Madam Hydra, or just the end credit scene. It doesn't
Oh yeah.
like it. This entire movie only validates introducing her sister and the end credit scene. That is all it is.
Yeah.
And
Agreed. No, I agree. I don't know. I think they're doing a lot of good thing. There's a lot of good stuff here. Part of the problem for me is not even those aspects. And you're not wrong in their own way. For me, the big problem is it's too little too late. Why do I care?
exactly,
Why do I
too
care?
little,
It,
too
all,
late.
all you were trying to do is what? You gave me Red Guardian and Yelena? That's what I'm get out of this whole thing?
And you butcher Taskmaster
Horribly neutered Taskmaster.
horribly.
Continuing the idea that we have to gender bend characters who I don't think needed gender bending for any reason, especially when Taskmaster's notoriously a mutant. So
Yes,
why borrow?
absolutely.
Why borrow that?
He has
It makes no sense.
So Taskmaster in the comics, for people who don't know who Taskmaster is a mutant who has the ability to read and copy any move that you do. It's like I think in the Ultimate Spider-Man TV show they say that his greatest nemesis is Deadpool, because Deadpool is canonically just wacky and
Yes.
chaotic and you can't follow his movements whatsoever. That's great.
Correct.
But yeah, honestly, he's just this is where I think that making the MCU grounded more in realism is a bit of a detriment to the story, because you can't introduce mutants and you're primarily basing all your villains in the tech industry, and it sucks, and I understand why they do that, but it sucks in some moments, and this is definitely one of those moments. Like, I would
I
have
agree.
honestly been fine with this if it had come probably a movie or two after Civil War, because that is where this timeline is set up, right after Civil War.
Oh yeah, and if you go to Disney Plus, go to the timeline playlist. It like in timeline order. This exactly when this takes place.
Yeah, absolutely. And it infuriates me, because honestly, Scarlett Johansson in a Black Widow movie would have been great if it was any other Black Widow movie other than this.
Agreed.
It's,
I agree.
that's sad, because she's an amazing actress, and honestly, I would put this. I want to put this in F tier, but it's no.
Really? I trust me. I feel like there is an F tier movie coming.
There absolutely is. Okay, yeah, I'll put it at the bottom of D tier. It's
There you
not
go.
good, but
There you go.
it has character moments that I think are really funny. Like, yeah,
The thing
Red
is,
Guardian
I
is
think it
amazing.
is good. I think it is good. The problem is I'm going to penalize it in every single day because of when it happens. Because if you would have showed this to us right after Civil War, like you're talking about doing, this would have actually been a very good movie.
Absolutely.
Because there's the things would have in it I would have received happily and with cheerfulness and when like, wow, what great backstory. And now you know what she's been doing in between this movie and then when you finally see her again in Infinity War.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, but because she flew off in the Quinjet. I guess that means they're going to have a Quinjet. Oh, that's cool. Now, but like all of it now, you're like, you know what?
It's just
you know,
too little, too late. Like you butcher Taskmaster, you give us subpar CGI. It's like, dude, the CGI on that fucking the Sky Fortress just awful. Did you ever watch like analysis videos on that?
Yeah.
It's just really bad.
Corridor Crew does a really good one about it.
Does amazing with that. Yeah.
Yeah, they did it, and I was like, golly, sad. Anyway, go on. I'm sorry.
Very sad. Okay, so Shang-Chi, I think is great.
It was such a breath of fresh air. I was like, oh, is this really what Phase 4 is going to be?
Are we finally getting a good movie? Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Are we finally getting Marvel's Jackie Chan? Yes, we are.
And the thing is, anybody who knows anything, obviously, I'm talking about comic book fans, so forgive me those of you who are not comic book fans. But, because cinephiles don't care. But comic book fans, like, Shang-Chi is an important character in the comics. He's trained most of the people that we love. Mm-hmm. He has helped build, and don't get me wrong, a lot of them they all came trained. But he's helped them get better.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's like, bro, come on, man. And this is a wonderful, and we get introduced to the real
Mandarin. It's not even. It's like, yes, it's not the Mandarin from the comics, but he's a good villain. Like he's not really. He's not a villain. He's an antagonist. And what's really cool is that a lot of movies, not all of them MCU, the villains, they're not villains, they're just antagonists. They're just doing things for the wrong reasons. And it's like, this is exactly what this movie is. He's not a villain, he just misses his wife and he's being led down the wrong path. And that's perfectly fine. That's totally understandable. Simu Lee does an amazing job.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he does great. I loved him in it. I listened to that soundtrack all the time. The fight scene with him on the bus is one of the best that I've ever seen.
Hey guys, I've just been doing martial arts for a few days. This is gonna be my announcement. And he's in the Spider-Man show.
I love that so much.
He's like, hey, do a flip.
Great.
That's him. That's great.
Yep.
I love it. I love seeing him pop up. Yeah, that's great. I always say this about this actress. The only person I didn't really care for, like, she was okay, but the only person I didn't care for in this was Awkwafina. It's like she's a bit annoying for me.
I loved her. I loved her as a partner to him, as in like because she offsets his somewhat. Because he's not goofy. He's trying to he's trying to figure it out. I thought she was I liked her as a eyes for us to see through. But she does have her moments. You're right. Mm-hmm. I do think some of her moments in like the Fight Club were a little weird. I liked her on the in the scaffolding fight. I liked her. And I liked her when she's doing arrow shooting. I was like, especially because the old ladies are like, here, you're gonna help us, and she's like, wait, what? And I thought that was cool. I like her. I like her. I think it's funny. I don't like her in other things she's doing now, but I liked her in this.
No, yeah, she's annoying, but she's not overly annoying in this. Like, she's a good.
Don't ever watch that Amazon lottery win movie with her and John Cena. Ooh. She's this character cranked up to like an 11 or 12.
I've heard of that, and I'm not looking forward to that. So yeah, she's a good friend. She's a good partner for Shang-Chi.
I'm glad they didn't go full love interest. I'm glad it was just like she's his female best
friend. Yes. Like, we don't need another love interest.
Yeah, I thought that was a much better role for her.
And they brought back Trevor. Holy shit! They brought
Yeah,
back Trevor. I loved it.
Trevor Slattery. Yeah, I loved it, and we got to see, dude. And that movie did not waste any money on the. Did not waste its CGI budget. It did a great job with it.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see those cool Asian mythology animals. Again, it was a wonderful. This was for the MCU what I think Black Panther was. It showed you a slice of a different culture doing stuff, and it showed you one of the magical 7 cities that eventually we find out is part of like Iron Fist and other things. So they're laying, again, all this is seeding things. But my only question is, where the hell's the sequel?
Exactly. Come on.
What's going on?
Give us more. Give us more,
Yeah,
man. I know. I mean, we know what's coming down the line. It's like, just give it to us now. So honestly, where would you put this? Personally, I would probably put it either in above B tier or mid A tier.
I go mid A tier. This was because I feel like this felt like it was like it was a blip of old MCU, and then we don't ever see that kind of blip again for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this behind Doctor Strange in front of Ant-Man. I think that was pretty good. Mm-hmm. Now, Eternals.
F.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Immediately F. No.
So here's the thing. I like this tried to come back to giving us a different style, something else. But I felt like it went in the wrong direction, because the problem is you introduce these characters, you give us all their backstory, and the only thing I can ask is, where the hell were you guys when the big fighting happened? And then they try to lampshade and are like, well, we're not allowed to get involved. It's like, you bums have been getting involved all the time.
Yeah, exactly. You're the cornerstone.
About?
You're the cornerstone of human existence. What the fuck are you talking about? Shut up. Yeah. Shut the fuck up.
Agreed.
Honestly, the one good thing I will say for this movie is, one, it gives us the celestial island that we see in Captain America, which gives us adamantium. That's one, sure. And it gives us the best view at a speedster that we've ever seen across Marvel and DC. Including the TV shows. So yes.
Yeah. But I'll go with that. She's great. She's really good.
Other than that, I don't really care for this movie. In all honesty, like, yes, it sets up like Black Knight and just other I think
does it though? Does it?
Oh.
Because again, it also sets up Blade.
It does.
If you're listening, because it's Mahershala Ali's voice. It's like
Herschel might not be Blade anymore. Jesus Christ!
Who knows?
All
this stuff.
They just need to bring Wesley Snipes back.
They totally need to.
There's only gonna be one Blade. There ain't ever gonna be another one Blade.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
absolutely.
Sir. Yes, sir. I don't care if you're old. We'll just milk you till you're 90.
I'm with you. I say make it the first F movie on our list.
Yeah, it's like, I understand the vision that they were going for, but it just didn't work out at all. Agreed.
Well, and the thing is, the movie was so unimportant in the grand scheme of things. We don't hear about the Celestial again until Captain America: Brave New World that just passed.
Yes, it's such a disappointment, because the characters could have been so. Very. Dude, these Eternal figures from Marvel Legends are still, to this day, years later, warm peggers at Ollie's and just any discount
and you watch
stores.
Them slowly, steadily go down in price.
Like, yes, $10, $9, $7, $6. Please take this. We don't want it anymore.
Literally $3.99. Buy one, get one free. Get the whole set.
Buy one, take them around. Buy one, take them all.
For real.
It's
buy one, get the case free. Let's go.
Seriously, it's just bad. Okay, now the next one up is possibly one of my favorite Spider-Man movies of all time.
Same.
Spider-Man No Way Home does an amazing job with not only Tom Holland's character, but with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
Agreed. It's the end of the origin story of this Spider-Man.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, at the very end of the movie, we get him in his finalized Spider-Man outfit in the beautiful blue and red. And it's just like this gives us a callback to all the Spider-Man movies, and also gives us closure into Andrew Garfield's character as well.
Bro,
Like,
those moments,
I
they're
watched
so wonderful.
I watched a clip of Andrew in like an interview, a press interview. It was like they were talking about this, like fans loving this and great and whatnot. It's like he looked at the camera like, "Where were all of you during the Amazing Spider-Man 2?
For real. He did.
Where were
He's
you?"
not wrong.
Fucking,
He's not wrong.
I pre-ordered Amazing Spider-Man 2. Still
Yeah.
got it. It's like, Jesus, they just
Yeah.
fucking
I just love that. I love the moment. And my partner on Nerd Fights hates because I told him, I said, I love the moment when they're all, or when it's Toby, Andrew, and they're helping, and they're on the roof of at the school, and Tom has just lost Aunt May, and she's real upset, and spoilers, I guess.
no.
And he and they're like, they get to have that moment. They get to tell him something.
The bro
And I'm
moment, yeah.
like, no Peter has ever gotten this kind of a moment, and I thought it was so good. I really liked it. I thought it was great. I thought each of them having their, with great responsibility, and you get to have that moment, and that's the moment that I literally leaned over to my wife and said, this whole thing, these 3 movies have been his origin story, and I am blown away.
Absolutely. Like,
because it ends, and you're like, we're starting. He's gonna be Spider-Man. I guarantee you. Now we're gonna get his villains. We're gonna get everything.
100%. Like, I really like. We keep going back to it, but it's really true. The Spider-Man TV show that just came out, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, it gives us the best animated look at Doc Ock, like as a comic book, and just I really hope they find someone who is that build or just sounds like that to introduce us into the live action MCU. It's like, I want Tom Holland's Doc Ock. It's like, that will be,
give me a overweight middle-aged man with a bowl cut who is threatening and scary.
yes, and who's smart.
Brilliant.
Yes, I love
absolutely
Peter Parker's foil. 100%, absolutely love it. Yeah.
Can you imagine if somehow we got a superior Spider-Man style movie?
Dude,
or somehow Doc Ock changes places, and now Tom Holland has to act like Doc Ock in his head, and starts a tech company and this and that, and really just and gets to come to the realization, oh my God, Spider-Man's been holding back all these years, and like all those things you saw revealed. Give me that somehow, and I will like chef's kiss.
Maybe not even a movie. Maybe just now hear me out, a long TV series. Because if they do Spider-Man, if they do Superior Spider-Man the way it's done in the comics, it needs to be long. It needs to be 45-minute to hour episodes, and it needs to have at least 2 to 3 seasons to fully develop the character. Because they cannot do that in one season.
No, I agree. I agree with that.
That's honestly the only way they could do that. But no, yeah, this movie was amazing callbacks,
I felt like this was an S all day.
100% an S all day. Now, where in the S tier?
No, for real.
I would honestly put this above Winter Soldier and behind Infinity War.
I'm down. Yeah, I'm down.
But no, yeah, this movie just gave us a lot of good character moments. It gave us a lot of heartbreaking and just emotional moments too, especially with Tobey Maguire meeting Edward Molina again for the first time.
Yeah.
It's like, Parker, my boy, is that you? I'm trying to do better.
They did so good. Yeah, they did really good.
And honestly, it's like, I know they will never be able to get someone as good as I know they'll never be able to get someone as good for Green Goblin as Willem Dafoe, but just seeing him back in this as the definitive Goblin with his purple and green, it really just hurt. It really hits really good.
Yeah, it totally did.
God, now going from good movies to bad movies. Oh my God, Sam. Speaking of Spider-Man directors, Sam Raimi. Oh. So, Jesus Christ, Multiverse of Madness could have been so much better. It could have been a great secondary introduction into the multiverse, but it just really did not deliver at all.
it's the first time I felt like you had to do the homework or you didn't know what was going on. Because like right now, I can't even. We don't have any of the material that they cover on this list.
No, yeah,
because it's in the series. It's in the anything having to do with Wanda is in the series. Is that her series WandaVision, and it's like okay,
yeah.
and nothing else. Like they try their best to give us some kind of explanation or backstory for because right out the gate he's at a wedding with Christine and he runs into the original old doctor guy who has a brief moment in conversation about it, how it had to go down, and you're just like really, you guys are going to talk us through. You may as well be like the story while you were out. Here's what went going down. I mean,
yeah. A lot of this movie was tell and not show, and
absolutely.
It sucks.
And they really ham-fisted the hell out of the multiverse.
And what's really bad is that I believe, if I'm correct, the writers of this movie didn't watch WandaVision, so they didn't have any good reason to have Wanda be the main villain in this.
None that I can tell.
None whatsoever. It's like, yes,
it's not like it set anything up.
No, absolutely. Like, yeah, she would be an amazing villain if they had set her up for that. But no, she's just a tragic character in WandaVision. She just wants her vision. She wants to be left alone, try to find her kids. And like, yes, she tries to find her kids in this, but like, she goes full Scarlet Witch. She goes full villain, and it just doesn't pay off anything at all.
Yeah, I agree.
It just sucks. Honestly,
it just sucks.
It really does. I just don't really have anything good to say about this. Like, yeah, we get our Bruce Campbell cameo, and that it is what it is. Pizza Papa.
Honestly, the thing I like about it is the stupid. I like John Krasinski as I like the fan service of Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. That was it. No, and I like the Professor X in the giant yellow chair with the slight notes of the X. So now they've made sort of X-Men 90s, the animated series, somewhat canonically to the multiverse. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. But yeah, otherwise it has zero value.
It gives us like the Illuminati was cool in concept, but they just killed them off way too quick. Like, they're supposed to be the best, the most powerful, and just fucking Captain Carter gets his shield to the gut. Him. Yeah, 100%. It's like, it's so bad. But yeah, honestly, I would put this in F tier unless you have any other thoughts.
No, go for it. Go for it. That's real. Yeah, that's real.
It's honestly the worst of the worst, but behind Eternals in all things. Okay.
Woof.
Yeah,
you're correct.
All right. Speaking of bad movies and waste of potential. Fucking Thor: Love and Thunder.
There's nothing good. I find nothing good about this movie.
The only good bit about this movie is a deleted scene with Thor and Zeus that should have been in the movie. Give Zeus much more character, and it's sad.
Jane Foster is a misstep. Though I like her. I like the character, and I like what they were doing, what they did in the comics with her, and so I like. People are like, oh, you're just sexist. No, listen, I like Jane Foster Thor when done right.
Yeah.
This was not it. Not at all. This was not it at all.
This was just, hey, let's bring back Jane Foster. What are we gonna do with her? Oh, we'll do the Jane Foster Thor story from the comics. Oh, we're gonna give her cancer? Yeah. Why? Oh, just 'cause. Okay.
Because reasons and story.
Because reasons.
And then Gore the God Butcher doesn't do any God butchering.
Yeah, he doesn't do God butchering at all. He doesn't. Now, I'm fine with Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher, but I wish they would have made him look like Gore the God Butcher, not just be.
How hard would that have been? It would not have been hard. It's super easy, and they barely an inconvenience, and they screwed it up. Sorry, I had to do it.
Yeah.
I had to do it. Yeah. Whenever I say super easy, the next phrase has to. In my house, we all do it.
I love it.
The very next phrase.
I haven't seen any of his videos in a while. Probably just because they're not in my algorithm. Yeah, I 100%. It's fucking hilarious. No, yeah, seriously, like, he's a good actor, but in this, he's phoning it in. In all honesty,
very. Yeah, very.
I think they're all funny. And the fact that this is directly directed and written by Taika Waititi probably hurt that a lot more.
Dude, people were so pissed. Taika's like not getting much in terms of this kind of work anymore. He's like, I'm gonna go do short films like Jojo Rabbit and everything else, or like smaller indie projects now. It's like, yeah, we're
Yeah,
good. Go do something
go do
else.
that.
Go ruin something else.
Stay away from Marvel.
Because I feel like he leaned into the things that were. He's like, oh, you guys really like this? Well, I'm going all in, and it's like, no, you went all in on all the wrong things.
Like I think he was only a writer in Thor Ragnarok, not the actual director. So in this, just having him be both is just not a good idea. It just happened to be wrong. So yeah, honestly, I think it'd be low D tier. Personally, I don't think it's F tier. It's just low D tier. It's just really bad.
I love the fact that you would have put it in the front of the F tier.
Oh yeah, we would have put it in front.
I saw you make that move. He's like, if I was gonna put it F tier, it'd be in the front.
Absolutely,
no, that's fine. You can put it back in D tier. It's fine.
Yeah, it's not a great. I like.
Don't worry, it's gonna get a friend in a moment.
Oh yeah. Oh, God. Like it had one of my favorite memes, but it overplayed that meme so hard. It's the screaming goats. Yeah. It's like, Jesus Christ, just shut them up. They could make for good meat. Anyways.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Anyways, the second Black Panther movie, which was, this is gonna be very controversial. This was not earned. This movie was not earned.
100%. Wasn't earned. Tried to be too many things. Wanted to introduce. They not only did the story feel ham-fisted because of Chadwick and not recasting, but then we're going to introduce Namor and an entire society and civilization, which, by the way, won't be consequential in the future at all. And we're going to throw Riri Williams in just for good measure. What? What?
There are so many good and bad things about this movie. Like, first, I thought Riri Williams in this was pretty decent. Like, I enjoyed her interactions in college and just trying to figure her shit out and whatnot. I think that was great. I think she'll be great in Ironheart if they ever get around to doing that. But
I have feelings. I'm hoping you're right. I'm very pleased.
I'm really hoping
you're right.
I'm really hoping that's the case because I don't care for her in the comics. So yeah, it's but like introducing Namor, notoriously a Fantastic Four villain, and he's more or less a villain, kind of more an antagonist, but he's primarily known for being connected to the Fantastic Four. So this doesn't really make any sense until you put the vibranium aspect in it, and then it's just I don't know. It's like the best line of this movie has to be from M'Baku when he's mocking the Dormalaji captain. It's like, you bald-headed demon.
Yeah, dude, totally.
Seriously, it's just great. Absolutely love it. Love M'Baku. Need more from him. I'm glad he's not.
Oh my god.
Glad he's not a giant ape villain. I love him.
True. Those are changes I'm happy with.
I'm just kidding. We're vegetarians. Great. No, yeah, this movie it wasn't earned. I don't like that. It kind of feels like ham-fisted that they at the very end they have the kid being named T'Challa as well. So
yeah, it was just dumb.
Yeah, just dumb. It's not earned whatsoever. Like, it's a cool concept, but and Angela Bassett gives us an amazing Oscar-worthy performance.
She was in a different movie entirely.
She was not in an MCU movie.
No, she was wonderful, and I'm like, why weren't y'all in the same movie she was in?
Exactly. It's like she was
just acting circles.
Holy shit! It's like snubbed, absolutely fucking snubbed.
100%.
Like
100%.
She should have won that 100%. Jodie, I love you. Not your year. It's hers. It is this Black Queen over here. Yes, please.
Literally, yeah, totally.
Honestly, I would put this in mid D tier.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Like behind Thor, Dark World. Now, Quantumania, Ant-Man Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, it had good elements like fucking Kang was amazing in this. but just like it was doing too many things.
I thought Cassie being recast was an utter and total mistake.
Really,
I don't know why you just didn't go with the actress who already was Cassie in the other movie. I think she would have been fine. I think this actress, I find her annoying. I find her attitude annoying. I find the way they wrote the entire family dynamic annoying. I'm like, so let me get this right. You're telling me nobody's learned any lessons after the 5 years and everything else, and everything's just the way it is now. And people just do things behind his back and everything else. It's just the whole thing. It felt like a really awkward. We've just abandoned any thought that we're a heist franchise anymore, and it's just
we're just gonna go
nothing good of value.
Yeah, we're just gonna go super science on this.
Is dumb. Yeah, it's just it didn't. I didn't. It was way over the top CGI stuff. It was not even really good all the time.
Bill Murray was
Quantum Realm.
Bill Murray was fucking misused in this. Like it's just it's a whole mess of just good intentions, and I can understand the concept.
Mm-hmm.
And like it sets up Kang and Jonathan Majors to be an amazing villain, given that Loki did an amazing job. But yeah, I mean,
I don't know. Was he though? He friggin'. I'm not even going to get into the ants thing because to me it's funny. To me, the ants part is the most realistic thing because they flat out explain that they've spent almost a 10,000 years or something like that in a pocket dimension developing and evolving. Fine. You know what? That right there, I'm totally fine with everything that happens with the ants. Now, the problem I had with it. The real problem I had with this, this conqueror gets into a fist fight with the jewel thief and has a hard time. What the hell's going on here?
Dude,
what are we even doing?
Dude should be kicking his ass
all day long.
He even said in the movie, "I've killed Avengers." Who are you? Are you the one with the hammer or something like that? It's like, I've killed Avengers. What are you? You're nothing to me. It's like, that should have, he should have wiped the floor with Ant-Man. Like, this should have been, easily. This should have ended the same way Avengers Infinity War ended with.
They wasted MODOK.
With Kang. Yes, they wasted MODOK. Interesting design, wasted him.
I thought MODOK was way better in that stupid stop motion thing they had with what's his face
Patton Oswalt. Yeah,
I remember. I thought that was that MODOK was cool.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
that was MODOK.
Yeah, that was MODOK.
This MODOK trash.
Yeah.
You can put it wherever you want. To me, this is an F movie. They just didn't fulfill any of the promise that this movie had, and it had a lot of promise and could have been really interesting.
Yeah, 100%.
You could have done anything. You could have done anything.
I'm putting it in high F tier, but yeah, like. The unfortunate thing is that they're never going to do anything with Kang moving forward because of everything that's happened with Jonathan Majors, and that's sad because Jonathan Majors is a really good actor, and it's a whole thing. We're not.
You should have used. Do you know what should have happened?
What?
They should, if you're going to do anything, they should have ex machina'd and had the Council of Kangs track him down because he's been building his stuff trying to get out, and they were worried he was going to get away from where they trapped him. So what do? They pull him out to imprison him someplace else. Have Kang defeat himself. And now I go, but have him on the verge of winning. You have him almost winning, and literally they have to be rescued, and you almost have it be a dejected win where they're like, oh my God, did that just happen? Like, what just happened? And have what's her face, the mom, explain why, like, oh, well, that I think that was him. For his other versions of him, he used to say something like that, blah blah blah. Now you're like, oh my God, and now you have them the end scene where they drag him before all of the others, and they sit here and they say, and he's like, how dare you, this and that, blah blah blah, and then you find out, no, we need your help. We brought you here because you guys banished me. I know. We needed your help though, because they're coming for us. Now you set up the TVA at the end of Loki season 2.
Yeah, that.
Okay, and now you go, okay,
this is this is a nice connection. This is a really good connection. I like that. But now, yeah.
I mean, how much better would that have felt? But no, he gets beat by the ants. He gets punched in the face numerous times by the jewel thief. It's just awkward, very awkward.
He gets beat down by public opinion.
I love you. He gets beat down by it's awesome.
No, yeah, I think Jonathan. I I honestly don't think Marvel should have nixed Jonathan Majors before the final curtain. But yeah, it's just my.
Well, and the thing is, he hasn't even been. It wasn't even that bad of a thing.
It wasn't even that bad a thing. He was exonerated.
He's already being right, and he's already being forgiven in other areas. And now you guys have wasted all this time and effort giving us subpar material.
And and they trashed the Kang Dynasty movie. It's just like giving us Doctor Doom. It's just the whole thing. Yeah, it's just this entire phase has just been it's just been a waste. Besides
this
the
is
majority.
a very telling list. This is a very telling list because you can start to see everything was like it was solid win, and then it just began to tank.
Yeah. Until this one, until Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Then we get back to good. Then we get back to
thank God James Gunn was riding the ship at the time.
Oh, thank God. Yeah.
Dude, how smart would they have been? How would Disney have been to just start having James Gunn be groomed to replace Kevin Feige running the ship? But instead, they fired him. He gets to go off and play with DC and starts having those relationships.
And now DC is actually going to be really good.
I do, and I've said it on the internet already. I think it's just their time. It's DC's time to carry the torch for comic book movies.
Absolutely,
and I'm down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go.
Yeah, DC has had one foot in the door for years. Like, I think the Snyderverse could have been really good if the studio didn't hamper him in any way. Like, I 100% believe that the Snyderverse would have been successful. Like, I saw the vision. I understood what he was doing, but the studio's like, nah, just one bad movie and we're not doing anything. Like, we're just gonna give it all to Joss Whedon. Like, no, it's like, God damn it. Like, God damn it. This could have been one of the best subversive comic book series that they could have had. And just nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
I'll go with that.
Yeah. Like, no. It was like, I enjoyed Man of Steel. I like Wonder Woman.
Same.
But no, it's just they. Oh God, I'm glad James Gunn is in charge.
Same. And I know we're not here to talk about DC movies. By the way, you know what? We should probably do that. We should rank the DC movies at some point.
I think
that would be an interesting exercise.
Now, DC movies or just DCU? No, yeah, we'll do DC all DC movies. We'll do all.
That's a good call. Yeah, there you go.
Live action. Let's do all DC live action movies.
Okay. I'm down. That's smart. I like it.
We'll figure something out in a later date. But yeah.
Okay.
So Guardians of the Galaxy 3. This was clearly a Rocket movie. Rocket the Raccoon movie. So 100%. Like, they paid.
My wife and I cried. Both of us.
I was
and she's
sobbing.
Like, why are we crying about a CGI raccoon? It's unreal.
I was sobbing. It was like, I knew the fate of his friends, and I still wasn't ready. I was like,
I didn't. I was like, maybe they're not gonna not, and then I'm like, oh my God, they are. It was so bad.
This is so sad. Like, oh my God. Rough. And the only thing that I think hampers the MCU moving forward is that Gamora is back, but it's not the Gamora that we know. I think that's the only.
Yeah, and that was a weird choice.
And it's not even a big thing. It's just like a minor nitpick too. It's like.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just they should have just let her stay dead. They should have left her in the past with that. But yeah, I don't know.
I agree.
But honestly, this was a fantastic movie. I think that I thought Adam Warlock was not as good as I think we all hyped him up to be, but he was still a really good addition to this movie.
Yeah, I agree with you, 100%.
And, oh, dude,
I do. I thought it was epic. This movie was, in terms of what it did, what it wanted to do, how it served up the story. I feel like it really brought home a lot of these elements. I noticed you don't have the Christmas special because it's probably a series, but at the same that's considered a special, a TV special, whatever. But at the same time, I do feel like the Christmas special played a big part into validating the relationship between Manta and what's his face. I like at the end. I like how dude is what's his face is trying to not Yondu, his side.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
he's with the arrow, and I'm like, again, a lot of really cool elements. I don't necessarily know that I needed the experimental Earth world. I thought that was it awkward. I get it. It's supposed to be like, hey, this is the society he's building, but then he'll just as easily destroy it because the experiment doesn't work. So you're trying to show the extremity. I felt like I was more afraid of the High Evolutionary than I was of Kang in Ant-Man. So I was like, okay, guys.
In terms of the experiment world, I thought it was more weird that it was based off of Earth than anything else.
Right?
Like, why would you base
Unless
it? Why would you base it off of like mid 70s, mid 80s Earth rather than like anything in space? That just doesn't make any sense. But High Evolutionary was a fantastic villain, especially towards the end where you have all his people turning against him and he's just having to blow the entire thing. Like Rocket finding out he's actually a raccoon was like, no. I'm Rocket Raccoon. Oh my god, that's so cool. Everyone in theater cheering is like, oh my god, that was great.
Yeah, totally. He's owning it from now on. I was like, right on, bro.
Hell yeah. And then at the very end of the movie, we get that scene where they're all together. Groot wraps his hands around them and says, I love you guys. It was like, oh my god. It's like, holy shit. It's like, looking back on
He's bilingual.
No, yeah, I was like, yeah, sure, he's bilingual.
He's bilingual. He speaks Groot, and now he speaks English. Whatever.
No, yeah, looking back on it now and actually hearing what actually happened from James Gunn is like, oh, like we went through this journey from volume 1, 2, and 3, and now we can understand Groot as well. Like that, giving us that little snippet, like, oh, we can understand.
I love it. That's what that's supposed to mean.
Yes, that's what that's supposed to mean.
Do you realize? I'm today years old when I knew that. I didn't. I have somebody. I had to tell Mrs. Know-It-All. As soon as we're done with this, I'm going to run and tell her. I'm like, did you know this?
Yes, dude.
That's why we understand him. We've been with him so long that we get it.
Yes, that's absolutely what happened.
See, that's great.
Automatically, this is an S tier just because the journey that it goes through. This is automatically an S tier for me.
Yeah, I'll go with that. It was a wonderful ending. It was a wonderful, solid ending. I thought they did a beautiful job wrapping things up, and I was like, good for you.
Yes, 100%. And it gives us that glimpse of like, hey, if we want to do more Guardians movies, we got this new team, and it's going to be interesting.
So your next one suffers, and you can by all means tee it up, but the next one for me, the issue is that it suffers from the same problem that Multiverse of Madness had. This one, you had to do the homework again.
Yeah, the Marvels. Like,
if you don't know who half these characters are going in.
Unless you watch the TV series.
Yeah, you hope you're riding along to figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
I didn't watch the Kamala Khan Miss Marvel show, not because I didn't like it or any of the other dumb reasons, but my daughter and I sat down to watch it, and we got through the first episode, or we got through most of the first episode, and then she bailed out, and I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "The thoughts are kind of geared toward you," and she goes, "I feel like they were aiming for 16-year-olds, but they landed at like 13-year-olds." She's like, "It feels like it's talking down to me. I'm good."
Ooh, okay, I could see that. Yeah.
It had nothing. I wasn't overly impressed. I watched a couple more. I watched the second and half of the third episode, and I liked some of the things that were going, but overall, it just did. It felt out of tone or off key for me, in a way that I was like, well, clearly, and I'm okay with that. By the way, this is not an insult. I'm okay with there being things that are not for me.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, I was just. But now you go into the Marvels, and I'm like, oh well, here's. And they're referencing all kinds of stuff. They're referencing her time with her best friend and her brother and everybody.
Bengals, I absolutely agree. Like the Marvels, like Miss Marvel, the TV show was an interesting show. It's like it's not perfect, it's not bad, but it's like it's in that middle area. Like it definitely is aimed towards teenagers and just comic book fans in general, not like hardcore nerds, especially with the fact that she's using like light manipulation rather than embiggen powers, like stretchy powers. So like it's not for everyone, but it was cute. It was a cute movie or a cute show, and I think the actress really carries over her energy and her acting skills from the show to the TV show or to the movie, because I think she's a really good actress. Her energy is really cute. I like that.
Mm-hmm. No, and again, I loved her. It's funny, she was the best part of this movie. Her interacting with everybody was wonderful. My biggest hit against this movie is that it felt like they kept telling me about better Captain Marvel movies. Every world they went to. Oh yeah, remember when we did this thing and fought this and threw off these people and you helped to save this and you were the blah 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 and we had to go. She goes to a world where they have to sing and I'm like, remember the first time you were here and this, and they tell you more and I'm like, why are you guys telling me about a better movie that isn't this one?
Right?
Because
like, there are so many other stories that could have been happening. On? It's like, why are we getting this one?
This should have been the third Marvel movie, Captain Marvel movie.
I can see that. I could see that.
Absolutely
yeah,
should have been the third.
They
should have had a second one that improved this. She should have had her Winter Soldier movie, and by that I just mean the better, well-crafted, character-driven, showing her in space doing spacey things.
Yeah, or
she should have had her Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yes,
and she never did.
She should have been in Guardians or even a reference or something like that. Yeah, just fly by. Hey, I'm a cameo. Yeah, no, yeah. I can definitely see this being a third movie. Like honestly, this was Brie Larson's better acting performance out of her two or three experiences in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's still not great, but it's definitely better. Definitely going in the better direction. Like I like Rambeau in this. I like Sam Jackson. Sam's great. Fury's great in this. This is really funny.
He's great in this on the after. And again, sorry, I know we're not talking about series. This movie happens after Secret Invasion. Now, in real life, COVID had happened, different scheduling things were going on. This was supposed to have come before. So we were supposed to have gotten this before we ever saw what happens in Secret Invasion. So it makes it make more sense that he's dour and this and that. But no, we go from the horrible, heartbreaking terribleness of Secret Invasion where they left us, whether you like it or not, and then they dump us in happy-go-lucky with Flurkins eating people. Sam, what is happening?
Here, kitty. This is great. I love that Flurkin scene. Regardless of what you think of the movie, the Flurkin scene was hilarious and cute. Yeah, it's great.
Ugh, it was, but at the same time, it's wasted. It's wasted in this horrible subpar movie. Like, give me something. That whole instance should have been in the friggin' first and the second Captain Marvel movie we never got.
Like, give us a Captain Marvel TV series where she's just going around in space, just helping people. Like, what? Seriously, she just needs more movie to comics, not light. Jesus, what the hell is wrong with people? Why can they not do this character justice?
I don't know, because she actually could have been very cool.
She could have.
Seriously. They could have even set up, give me Civil War 2. If you're going to steal stuff and borrow stuff, ideas, take Civil War 2. She was very integral to that.
She was integral. Nobody liked her, but she was integral.
No, but like she was the Tony Stark of that version.
Yeah.
She was carrying. There's a world in which you introduce a whole bunch of cool new stuff and really anyway whatever. Sorry. Yes, go on. Where do you want to put this really?
Honestly, I would put this in high D tier.
Okay, all right, I'll take it.
Probably,
I'll take it because again, Kamala Khan's she's acting awesome. I kind of dug what's Proton having to, or whatever they're calling her, having to kind of come to terms with who Carol was. That aspect I actually liked. Mm-hmm. I thought it was weird that at the very end she gets shunted over to a universe where
the X-Men are.
It was a very odd choice.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But hey, we'll probably get her back with Battle World and Secret Wars. Why not get the X-Men over there? I mean, that's how we're.
Right,
yeah, I mean that's how we're getting Secret Wars or getting the X-Men in the MCU.
Mm-hmm,
but anyway,
mm-hmm.
yeah, that's a topic for Captain America: Brave New World. Anyways, so next movie, second to last movie we have so far in the MCU is Deadpool and Wolverine, and I will say, yes, this isn't technically a MCU movie. It's more MCU.
Sure it is.
It's MCU adjacent.
Okay, well, I mean, you got the TVA and stuff, so I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, it's in that continuity. It's not directly in the MCU, but it's in the world now because Deadpool with TVA, you get Happy in there. I say it's MCU. It's also MCU adjacent. It's both. It's both. It's tying loose ends with Deadpool as well, and just giving us Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine for maybe the last time until he's 90. Until he's 90.
True story.
No, yeah, but yeah,
I love this movie.
this was a great movie. Oh yeah,
I don't know. The thing is, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else I can say that hasn't already been said ad nauseum. This movie, I believe, definitely. I think this is the last S we're gonna get this right now.
oh absolutely.
I loved it. I thought it was solid. I thought it's funny. The only storyline that I felt like lacked was Deadpool's actual personal storyline in his universe, but he makes up for it because he's trying to save his universe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Hugh Jackman and them do great. Even though people are like, you did terrible by Old Man Logan. No, I don't think so. I think the fact that this is a different Wolverine serves a really good purpose, and we get to see him in the uniform.
Yeah.
Oh, we get to hear a wonderful story. You get to have the cameos galore. None of the cameos to me felt gratuitous.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they all worked. Every one of them worked. Seeing Chris Evans do the bait and switch of being Johnny Storm.
Yeah. Cursing.
Everybody in the Resistance. You have Elektra, and he does the joke. He's like, "Oh, sorry about Daredevil." She's like, "No, it's okay." You know what I mean? I was like, "Right on." And then of course, Wesley Snipes, the one and only, the only Blade.
Only ever one blade. Only ever gonna be one blade.
And fucking, it was great.
Bringing in Channing Tatum as Gambit.
Bro.
I'm sorry.
And like
who
the
is
most
your dialect
comic accurate
coach?
ever.
Like, who is your dialect coach, sweetie?
But the most comic accurate Gambit I think we will ever get.
Probably. Yeah.
We're never getting a Gambit. And by the way, they're leaning into comic accurate these days.
Oh yeah.
Nope. Gambit's gonna rock that whole nonsense.
Kind of makes you think, Fox. Maybe you should have given him that Gambit movie.
By the way, are you saving this list? Because I need you to save this.
Oh yeah, I'm saving it.
If you need to save it, download it, save it. Because I'd love it if we revisit this once Fantastic Four comes out. Once other things, just keep adding to your exhibit.
That'd be great. Yeah. Honestly, yeah, S tier, definitely S tier. I'd probably put it under Guardians 3, but it's definitely a solid S tier. Absolutely. Definitely one of the best. I have it in Blu-ray. Mm-hmm. I've got it. I wish.
Do you really?
Yeah, I wish I had the Steelbook because if I love a movie so much, I get the Steelbook. That's just how much. Yeah.
Right on. Okay, so let's find out what your thoughts are on Captain America: Brave New World.
Okay, so I watched this when it came out, and honestly, I gave it a 7 out of 10. It wasn't great.
Okay.
It wasn't great, but it's not bad. I honestly think...
Agreed.
I honestly think this is a movie that you don't need to watch until streaming. Like this movie doesn't do anything outstanding. Like, it gives us a good story. It doesn't do anything to break the mold. Like, it's one of those... It's one of those run-of-the-mill stories, but, like, it's good. But you don't have to watch it if you don't need to. Like, the only thing that are important about this movie is it introduces adamantium, it introduces Red Hulk, and brings back the leader. It pays off the events from the Incredible Hulk, and it teases Secret War.
So how did they put it in Avengers 2? They talk. This is the Sokovia of the MCU. By that I mean this movie it's out in the middle of nowhere, but it's on the way to everywhere.
Yeah,
because it has so many references to old things and does a wonderful job weaving those together.
Oh yeah,
and it's clearly taking us somewhere else, and it does a very good job pointing in that direction. What it has a hard time doing is sitting here living in its own skin.
Yes.
I by the way, I enjoyed this movie.
I did too. I loved it. Yeah,
But I do clearly see it. I love Sam as Cap. I have no problem with that. I'm not one of those people. I have no issue with that.
Anthony Mackie is amazing.
I think he wears the mantle well. If the movie is short on anything, it's that the Sam Wilson Captain America comics have always been very conspicuously about race.
Yeah.
Not racism, but about race and the understanding of what it means for a black man to wear the red, white, and blue in America, which they touch on in the series a little.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is and I feel like that would have been a wonderful, like, you could have even just grabbed one of the storylines, grab one of the Sam Wilson storylines and run with it, man. You don't have to sit here and invent a whole new thing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I do like the things that they are trying to do. I like the introduction because, again, like I said, all the stuff that's callbacks, I'm all here for.
Oh yeah,
I didn't like it. I didn't like Eternals, but I love seeing finally the Tiamat corpse being looked at. Here's the other thing to consider about that and where it sits in the universe. The Guardians currently live in a place in nowhere, which is the head of a dead celestial.
Yep.
That the entire that corner of the universe has been harvesting for ages.
Oh yeah.
So Tiamat's a font of potential resources and all kinds of stuff, more than just adamantium.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I feel like just having it be only the birthplace of adamantium feels like low-hanging fruit compared to we've already seen the value of a head, of a celestial head.
Like they're only
So what are you
scratching
guys
the
doing?
surface as to what they could find
Yes.
in this
Yes.
celestial. Yeah, absolutely. Like honestly, I think this is the first instance of ever hearing of the celestial ever since Eternals. Like I don't think we've heard about it.
It is. Yeah.
Seriously, it took us this long to get back to it. That should not be the case.
What the heck?
I'm fine with it, but it should not be the case. And
I agree.
Serpent Society being more realistic, that's hilarious. Like they're not in snake suits. It just
Which should have been well, there's a version of this they filmed that had wrestlers in it, that had people actually, and then
Really?
they pulled it back. Yeah. Oh yeah, they filmed a whole bunch. They filmed a funeral scene. Ross is supposed to have like fake died. They fake his death, and there's a whole funeral scene in it, and there's all kinds of stuff that they filmed, actors and actresses who were in it that didn't get seen.
Wasn't Civil War originally originally touted as Captain America: The Serpent Society?
Yes, that was the big joke, is that this is actually, everyone was like, there's no way this is Serpent Side for real.
Oh no.
And then they actually have some of them. But yeah.
That's great. No, yeah, like honestly, this is less of it's half a Captain America movie and more of a callback and just acknowledgement and payout of the Incredible Hulk movie. And all
Yeah,
those
but I think
characters.
it's the cop out when people call it Incredible Hulk the sequel. I don't think that's the case.
No,
at all.
and absolutely.
I just feel like, but you're right. I feel like it has so many references, and like that's why I said it's on the road to everywhere.
I like that the Incredible Hulk is being the movie Incredible Hulk is being acknowledged in the MCU, because a lot of people.
Oh, when they showed the footage, right?
Yeah, they showed the Harlan footage.
They didn't change. They did not change Hulk. It's still that Hulk. They didn't use the Bruce Banner model. It's literally the Edward Norton Hulk as was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? Good for you guys.
Yeah,
good for you.
Yeah, great. Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, this is a decent. Again, it's not a movie that you have to watch. That you have to watch immediately in theaters or even on streaming. It's just one of those that if you want to watch it, you can check it out. There's nothing groundbreaking or just immediate necessity.
I'll rewatch it when I come across it in my rewatches. I'm not going to shy away from it.
Yeah, it's just a fun movie. It's not perfect. It's not bad. It's just fun. It's just a fun time. I really had fun with it.
Agreed. This was the 90s Fantastic Four. I had fun with those movies. They weren't great. They weren't crazy. They weren't groundbreaking. That's what this is.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
honestly, I
fine.
really liked Harrison Ford as Ross, and I think his portrayal.
I thought he did good. He was one of the best parts of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think his Red Hulk is definitely got to be a menace.
But, all right, so where are you gonna put where do you put this?
Honestly, I would put this in high B tier above Incredible Hulk.
Okay, good. Yay. Okay, good. Yes.
Yeah.
I was hoping you were going to say that. I was willing to accept high C if necessary.
No,
but I was definitely hoping it'd be. I do not think it's A, but I definitely think it's a fun time for all.
Yeah,
involved.
if it was A, it would definitely be the last in A. But yeah, it's definitely the best out of the B tier. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. I'll go with that. Rock on, man.
But yeah, so yeah.
Dude, this has been fun.
This has been, 2 hours. Holy shit, this is fun. I knew this would be a long one, but this is definitely fun. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and finally
Very
having a new Marvel film in the bag, just like it makes it so much better. definitely
Right on,
looking
man.
forward. So yeah, guys, hopefully you enjoyed our tier list. Hopefully, let us know what you guys thought, what you guys think. Where do you place any of these movies? Let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. And hey, if you guys want to check this out a little early, check out our Patreon, Zero's Patreon. So hopefully we'll see you guys there. And Mr. Know-It-All, where can they find you on the socials?
All the different places I'm at a real know-it-all, and I really appreciate you having me on the show. I'm always a good fan of being on Zero to Heroes. You guys are a lot of fun. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, man. It's definitely fun having you. Definitely one of my favorite people to have on. So yeah, we will hopefully see you guys in the next video. Hey, maybe next time you'll see us two back again talking about DC. That'd be fun.
Let's do it. Let's do it,
man. All right, we'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good week, all. Bye.
Bye.